Great day, great day. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Yes, as you join us, please like and share and tag someone as you're joining. Thank you so much for joining in again this week, today, Monday. So, yes, tag someone as you're coming in, like and share. We love that collaboration and connecting with other folks, and we welcome new folks to join us each week. So please like and share and let us know, folks, where you're tuning in from, where you're joining from. We are again broadcasting live from YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So excited to be doing that. So come on in, let us know where you're from, and tag someone, and let them know that, hey, this will probably be a very good day to check in and tune in, because this is a real moment today that's really all about you. Again, all about you. And I am taking this moment aside from our normally scheduled topics for the week, and really just focusing on you. So again, in the spirit of timeliness, I'm going to go ahead and get us started, okay? Again, welcome everyone to this week's Mindset Matters webinar. And thank you all again for tuning in, joining in, as always, from week to week, every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And I want to just welcome newcomers. If you're new to this, new to tuning in, welcome you. We honor and are grateful that you decided to take some time out of your day and tune in this evening. Okay? So it's another edition, another webinar on Mindset Matters. And in these weekly webinars, what we simply do, folks, is just challenge the beliefs that shape how we think, how we lead, and how we live and show up in the world. And that's what we do each and every week. I feel honored to be able to share my life lessons, what I've learned, and how I look and serve in the world, and how I look and serve my clients. So I like to bring those nuggets to you on a weekly basis, okay? But tonight I want to talk about something that is especially important as we move deeper into the second half of 2026. Yes, folks, we are greater than halfway through the year, okay? I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're talking about the mindset of the second half. Yes, the mindset of the second half, milestones, momentum, and the move forward. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand from the beginning. The first half gave you information. Okay, the first half of 2026 gave us all lots of information. The second half gives us an opportunity to respond. Okay, think about that. Everything that happened during the first half of this year gave you information. You got the wins, some wins from that information. There were some perhaps disappointments that you got from that information. The goals you accomplished gave you information. The goals you didn't accomplish also gave you some information. The relationships, opportunities, mistakes, breakthroughs, setbacks, the unexpected challenges all taught you something. The question is no longer just simply what happened. The better question, folks, is what am I going to do with what happened? Why? Because the second half of the year does not have to look like the first half. Okay? Let me just say that again. That second half of the year does not have to look like the first half. Okay? So as we move into our first segment that I want to focus on is, I'm calling this the milestone check, okay? The milestone check-in, if you will, okay? Before we start talking about where we're going, we need to acknowledge where we've been, okay? And again, this milestone check is sometimes we're so focused on what's next that we never stop long enough to recognize how far we've really come. So I want to take this moment and just do some reflection. And so even after tonight's webinar, I want you to do some deep reflection in your journal and really just think about the opportunities that are to come, but the things that have happened up until this point. You've done some things. Some things have happened. Some things didn't happen. A lot of stuff has manifested. A lot of things have transpired. Life has even happened in the first 6 months plus of the year. And so in that, it's taught us something about what needs to happen in order for us to get to where we need to get to in 2026. And what it has also done for us as a check-in is you probably have found yourself evolving, okay? You probably have found yourself evolving, okay? Ask yourself, what have I accomplished so far this year? Simple question. Ask yourself, what have I accomplished so far this year? Okay? And don't immediately dismiss the small victories. Maybe you started something. Maybe you finally ended something. Maybe you established a boundary. Maybe you had a difficult conversation. Maybe you became more disciplined. Maybe you survived something you didn't expect to face, but you had something happen. Maybe you even simply started thinking differently for yourself these past 6 months. Something as simple as, I'm thinking differently. And this past 6 months made me think differently about something. No matter what, folks, that's progress. Okay? That's progress. But the milestone check-in isn't only about accomplishments. Ask yourself, what did I learn? Where did I grow? And what this year reveals about me. Sometimes the greatest milestone isn't something you've achieved, okay? Sometimes it's not just something you achieved. Sometimes it's something you realized. You realized that you will no longer tolerate X, okay? You realized what matters, okay? You realize where you've been playing small. You may even realize what deserves more of your attention. You realized that you've outgrown something, okay? And that's why reflection matters, because you cannot fully appreciate your progress if you're constantly measuring yourself against where you haven't arrived yet, okay? Pause. Acknowledge the distance you've already traveled, okay? That's the check-in that I want you to have for yourself. Pause and acknowledge, hey, man, no matter what, to get to where I am, I've realized some things. To get to where I am, I've evolved in some things. Life has taught me some things about me. Life has taught me some things about business. Life has given me some greater insight about business. Those are some reflections that I would throw out for myself. And yes, in these past 6+ months, it's taught me, how to pivot differently. It's taught me to read maybe even some warning signs about business earlier. It taught me how to project. It taught me how to more critically drill down some things. It taught me even deeper enhancements of the utilization of AI into my business. It taught me where AI doesn't work in in the work that I do. It's taught me how to become more efficient, how to further expand. And it's taught me where, a little bit more patience. It's spotlighted some areas even in my own life where I find that I might need to give greater attention to, have some pause moments and focus in some areas that maybe I wasn't really focusing on at a level that I needed to. But no matter what, folks, it taught me that there was something that happened in this process that I have traveled up until this point. And what I want you to be able to do is to be able to know that for yourself. The first 6+ months has taught you something. And the last thing I want to do before I take us to looking in the future is to not miss exactly what we did get from those first 6 months. Okay? I don't want you to lose what you got. So that deep, honest reflection is great. Okay? That deep, honest reflection is great, and it creates some amazing momentum. And yes, folks, awareness that allows us to continue to move forward to the end of 2026. So as we move into this next segment, I want to focus on and remind you, don't confuse delay with defeat. Okay? Don't confuse delay with defeat. Okay? Now let's deal with another side of a milestone check-in. What about the things that haven't happened? Okay? The goal you thought that you would have accomplished by now, I can even raise my hand. I really had a goal to be somewhere in my business differently right now. And it's not that it hasn't happened or it won't happen. There is a slight delay in that process, but I'm still moving incrementally forward. Okay? So the opportunity hasn't came, but that doesn't mean I'm derailing it. Okay? Even though I will tell you the inner critic has tried to tell me to self-select out, but I've decided no, that's not an option. Okay? The business that isn't where you expect it doesn't mean it's not going where you need it to go. Okay? Sometimes delay means we've got to work either sometimes more on ourselves, sometimes we got to work on some additional resources, sometimes we got to regroup, and revamp our strategy. Even sometimes we got to think about our approach to it. Okay? And a lot of different things can impact a delay. But a delay doesn't mean done. Okay? It could just mean we're pivoting, we're still moving forward, but we're still having those goals and proceeding. Okay? The relationship that didn't work, the financial goals that haven't happened, the door that hasn't opened, all of this is where, that mindset becomes really, really critical. Okay? Because all of those things could happen in a day, week, month, and in 6+ months. But that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. So don't make yourself the low-hanging fruit. That doesn't mean it's something wrong with your goals. So don't get rid of them. That simply means I'm acutely aware and I might have to have some different methodologies to be able to continue to move forward. I might have to pause. I might have to reflect. I may not have anticipated life happening. Okay? Whatever that looks like for you, continue to lean in, continue to stay in the game. Okay? One of the most dangerous things that we can do is turn a delay into a definition. Okay? Something didn't happen. So we start telling ourselves, maybe I'm not capable. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I missed my opportunity. Maybe I'm not good enough. Yes, Nick, that circles the wagon. So stop. Okay? Stop. Don't start having the inner critic take over. Okay? Delay is not defeat, and the unfinished goal is not evidence of an incapable person. Sometimes the timeline changes. Sometimes, as you heard me say earlier, the strategy needs to change. Sometimes we just need more preparation. Sometimes life simply happens, and we've got to take a step back, regroup, and keep it moving. Your current position does not determine your final outcome. Here's what matters: you're still willing to move, because sometimes success in the second half isn't about starting over. It's about not being confusing, but refusing to stop. Okay? It's not about starting over. It's refusing to stop and refusing to self-select out. So don't allow a slow first half to convince you that you cannot have a strong finish. We all can have a strong finish in this game with our goals for 2026. We just need to be intentional about keeping it moving. And remember, you heard me say several weeks ago, in this case almost several months ago, about the word commitment. That mindset of commitment means that we continue to move forward because we are committed to the purpose, committed to the goal, committed to what our intentions are, so that we reach the goal. Now, in that commitment, it doesn't always mean you're going to be motivated. You're going to be super excited. I still am. I'm excited about what those goals look like. I do, if I'm honest, I do have some days where I'm not always the greatest motivated, but I'm still leaning in. I'm still not giving up. I'm preparing more. I'm doing some things in addition to, but I'm still moving forward. Okay? And that's what I want you to believe, and that's what I want you to focus on as you continue in this journey. Okay? So let's shift, because I want to shift so that you understand that your beliefs enter the second half with you. Okay? Your beliefs, meaning that mental mindset, will enter the second half of this journey with you. Okay? Here's where we have to go deeper. Okay? We got to go deeper, because I need you to really hear this. Okay? Because when you enter the second half of the year, you don't leave the mindset behind. Your beliefs come with you. So ask yourself, what did I believe during the first half of the year that helped me? Keyword, that helped me. Okay? Maybe you believed, I can figure this out. I deserve better. I can change. I can learn. I can lead. I can recover. I can become more. Bring those beliefs with you, because those beliefs created movement. Okay? Those beliefs created movement, and we need that movement to continue. But we also have to ask ourselves, what did I believe that slowed me down? Okay? Maybe I was believing I'm not ready. I needed everybody's approval. I can't afford to fail. I'm too old. I'm too far behind. I've already messed up way too much. This probably won't work anyway. Again, that self-talk that doesn't serve us, and it honestly, folks, didn't serve you the first 6+ months. Okay? Those are not just thoughts. Those beliefs, folks, will influence your behavior. And this connects directly to what I teach personally in my unconscious mindset coaching program. Okay? All around the believe mindset. But I teach this because I know that it's a journey. And I realized that it's a mindset game until we're up out of here. And I further realized is that we've got to monitor this mental muscle as we choose and look to accomplish any goal, because that inner critic will always fool you. And the mental muscle that we got to keep strengthening is that inner coach so that we stay in the game the way we want to stay in the game. Okay? What you believe, folks, affects your behavior. It affects your emotions, it influences your language, and it shapes your identity. It impacts your energy. It affects our vision, folks, how we see things, and ultimately it influences your expectations. So before you create another goal for the second half of the year, I want you to pause and take a look at your belief system. Okay? Look at the belief system that you're taking with you into that second half of the year, because sometimes you don't need a new goal. You just need a new belief about what's possible in you. What's possible in you, folks. Sometimes that's an inner coach reminder of what's possible. That's an inner coach reminder of who I need to be on the other side of that yes that I told myself about myself that I was working toward. Okay? And so that's really big when we are going into now really fully into this next half of the year. Okay? So again, folks, as you hear me talk about this, it's about awareness. And again, in that reflection, I can reflect on what was I telling myself that held me up. And that stuff isn't serving me, and I can't take that into the next half of the year for me. Because it didn't serve me in the first 6 months, it's not going to serve me in the next 6 months. So unpack that. Take some time, work with a coach. I'm always available as an accountability partner. But take the time and do that, unpack that, but don't take those self-defeating beliefs with you into the next half of the journey. Okay? So as we move into our next segment, I want to talk about how we recalibrate. Don't just restart. Okay? And this is where I want us to shift from reflection to action. Okay? Because a lot of people get to the second half of the year and they actually say, I'm starting over. But I want to challenge that thinking for myself and anyone else where it might very well be circling the wagon. We're not starting over. Okay? I don't necessarily need to start over, and neither do you. You need to simply recalibrate. Okay? Starting over makes us feel like everything we've done thus far was what? Wasted. Okay? But it wasn't. You've learned so much to go back to zero. Way too much to go back to zero. Instead, folks, ask yourself 4 questions. Okay? And you might want to write these down if you don't want to actually answer them during this webinar. But ask yourself these questions. What should I keep? What should I keep that has worked for me up until this very time right now? Okay? Next question is, what's working? Because in order for you to get here, there's something that you can keep, and something worked well to get you to where you are in your goals. Okay? So, in reflection, ask yourself that. What should I keep? What's working? And next, what habit, what relationship, discipline, routine, or mindset needs to continue? Okay? All of those things. What discipline, what habit, what routine, what mindset do I need to continue? Because yes, folks, in reflection, you did something that worked and you did it to a level of consistency. Okay? And finally, because I can't leave the final question out, which is what should I release? What do I need to let go of? What isn't no longer serving me? The actual question is, what should I release? Okay? What are you carrying that no longer serves where you're going? Okay? And folks, can do this definitely. And I can tell you, if I'm being honest with you right now, I want to release the energy for me going into this second half of the year as I am. I want to release the energy and the spirit of procrastination. I want to release that because while I continue to move incrementally, I know that as I reflect on those first 6 months plus of the year, oftentimes procrastination is what derails me, even though I do get back on the horse and keep it moving. But sometimes that procrastination mindset can pigeonhole me for sometimes hours and even some days. So I'm going to release that. Okay? That's one thing that I'm willing to commit and just say it verbally and publicly to you all in the spirit of transparency. But that's what I mean is in our reflection, be honest with yourself. What do I need to let go? What needs to be released? Okay? And then ask yourself, what could I adjust? Okay? What could I make adjustments to? Because maybe, folks, the goal is still right. The strategy isn't. And 6 months of data shows me I need to change my method. I need to change my approach. I need to adjust maybe how frequently I do something, how often I do something. I need to maybe have a totally different approach to this thing. Don't get rid of the goal. The goal is that intrinsically purposeful thing that you say you want it for yourself, your business, your relationship, or whatever that looks like. And at the end of that 2026, if that's your deadline, you and I want you to be able to have accomplished that, or certainly gotten in an amazing space to where it looks good to you. Well, in that journey, we can see there are some things that sometimes we got to adjust. And it's easy for the inner critic to tell you the goal doesn't work because it takes you to self-selecting out. But it's better for your coach to tell you, no, you want the goal. You want to accomplish that. So let's consider a different strategy that still gets you there. And yes, I will tell you, from an adjustment standpoint, it may not always look and feel good. It may not always feel exciting. It may not always feel comfortable. Okay? Where that inner critic wants you to be. Adjustments means change. Adjustments might mean something different and even deeper into the unknown, but we've got to be willing to lean into it and be committed to the process. Okay? So maybe the destination hasn't changed, but the routine needs to change. Okay? And finally, what deserves more of your energy? Because your energy, folks, is one of your biggest resources. And I will offer to you that what deserves more of my energy, I want to shift my energy going into this last half of the year to some better balance and alignment, okay, with the day-to-day things that I do in this work. And, and just sharing this with you all because I manage a couple of businesses and I'm evolving and growing both of those businesses. And there's a lot of pull on those businesses with me in that process. And as I continue to scale and have support in those respective businesses, I want to make sure that as I continue in this journey to those goals, that I find some very healthy balance that supports the goals that I need. Because at the end of this, I realize, because I'm already evolving, that I need to be who those goals need at the end. And so I'm allowing that to happen. And I just want to make sure that as I allow that to happen, I find balance so that my energy on a day-to-day basis needs to look like and feel what I need so that I can bring my highest and best self to each day going forward. But each and every one of you will have a different way that you look at this, a different way that you approach it. And again, even after you listen to this, I would even encourage you to go back and play the replay and just pause in those moments where you need to reflect and just journal. Write down what that needs to look like for you. Write down what you intend to do to shift and change, because energy, yes, that's huge. That's one of your biggest resources that will allow you to get and be wherever you're going to be. Because if you don't refuel, as you heard me say earlier this year, if you don't refuel, you don't make it, because you won't have the energy to do so. Okay? And not everything and everyone deserves equal access to your energy. Okay? Recalibration says, I'm not ignoring what happened. I'm using what happened to make a better decision about what happens next. It's maturity, that self-awareness, and that mindset. Okay? That's where I need you to be with this. Okay? So as we shift again, I want you to create your second half milestone. I want you to create your second half milestone. And so as you see on the screen here, I've created just a visual for you, but just an action plan. You're creating this second half milestone, and so I want you to think about, what can this look like for me? And again, you might be looking at this at a replay, and as I talk through it, you'll understand what the exercise will be. Okay? I want to make this practical, and I want to leave you with this, tonight, so that you're able to actually do some actionable things right as part of this process. Okay? So, with the goals, I don't want you to leave tonight with 20 goals. I want you to be thinking about one meaningful milestone. Okay? Simply ask yourself, if I accomplish one significant thing before December 31st, what would make me feel that I truly moved my life forward? Okay? Maybe it's personal, maybe it's professional, maybe it's financial, it could also be relational. Even leadership, maybe health, okay? Maybe it's finally doing something that you've been afraid to do for a long time, okay? Whatever it is, I want you to identify it. And after you identify it, folks, I want you to ask these 3 questions that you see on the screen. What must I believe to accomplish it? What must I believe to accomplish it? Because it's got to start here. And I got to feel it. And I have to have some intentionality about it. Okay? And the next question is who must I become to accomplish it? So not only what must I believe, but who do I have to become? As you just heard me, I can't be who I am right now on December 31st because I still got some work to do. I'm still evolving, I'm still growing, I'm still transforming. Some things have to shift even in my business so that it is prepared for what December 31st looks like. Some things have to shift in my relationships, my business relationships, personal and professional. Some balance and alignment has to happen all along this journey over these next 6+ months in order for things to look like I need them to look and feel good about what that looks like on December 31st. Okay? And then the next question is, what must I do consistently, folks, to accomplish it? Okay? What must I do consistently to accomplish it? Again, simple questions, simple things to reflect on, but as you see, even in this last question, it's always going to be actionable. And I have to hold myself accountable to that. And the key word, folks, is consistent. Consistent has to be a byproduct based on my commitment. As long as I'm committed, I'm going to consistently move forward, even if it's small, medium, or large increments. I'm going to move forward. Okay? Because this, folks, is always going to be where transformation begins. Because the milestone, yes, the milestone isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become while you're accomplishing it. And the second half doesn't mean more wishes. It needs intentionality. It needs consistency. It needs accountability. And it needs a belief system, yes, that is aligned with where and who you are going and who you are trying to be. Okay? There's got to be alignment. And so, again, as you're reflecting on where I've come from, look at what alignment looked like as to where you are now. And look where maybe I need to either stay aligned or readjust some things so that alignment continues into who I'm becoming and where I'm trying to go. Okay? So, as I'm closing this evening, I want you to hear that your second half, really, quite honestly, starts now. Okay? I want you to remember something, and that something is you can't change the first half of 2026. So, it's done happened. The best you can do is learn from it. And I challenge you to, in reflection, write and journal about what you learned about yourself, your goal, your commitment, whatever that looks like for you, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do I want to continue? What do I not want? What serves me? What's not serving me? You know that more than anyone here that's tuning in and listening in. Same with me. Okay? So because I can't change the first half of 2026, I'm no longer playing the tape other than as a reference point to remind me not only where I'm going, but who I need to become and where I'm trying to be. It's no longer a reference point to pull me backwards, but just a reference point of where I've come and what is no longer serving so that it doesn't repeat itself in the second half. Okay? I want you to remember that. Okay? You don't need to do, all you need to do is take the life lessons. Okay? Celebrate the victories, own the mistakes, release the disappointments, keep the wisdom though. Keep the wisdom and simply move forward. Please, please, please don't spend the second half regretting the first, because you can't do anything about it. Spend that second half, I should say, moving into action, because the first taught you something about yourself and about your goal. Okay? Use the first half as a life lesson. Okay? You can become more. You just have to be intentional about what that looks like and what has to happen. Okay? You still have time. Yes, we still have time, starting with now. If you can hear me and you're listening in, you still have time now. Okay? Time to make a call, time to start that business, time to repair that relationship, time to establish those healthy boundaries, time to write that book, and to improve your leadership. So take advantage of it. Pursue that opportunity. Continue becoming more, much more intentional about your life today. Okay? So here's the question I want to leave you with before I let you go. What must you believe, become, and do differently for the second half of 2026 to look different than the first? What must you believe, do, and become differently so that second half of 2026 looks different than the first half? And again, write this down, journal it, put it in there. If you're brave enough to throw it in the chat because you know right away what that is, feel free to do that. Thank you for your engagement if you do, and your courageous intentionality there. But write it down because I want you to have a reference point that you can look at and see from time to time on what that needs to look like. Write it down. Okay? Make the decision. Identify your milestone and then start moving, because your first half may have given you the lesson, but the second half gives you the opportunity to do something with it. Okay? That's what I need you all to remember. Okay? I'm excited for what the rest of 2026 can bring us. I'm excited for what it has brought us already this year. Okay? I'm excited for what it has already done so far this year for me as well as for you. Okay? And if you need help to support you going into this second half of the journey, again, you will see in the different platforms that you might be joining me from a link in the bio. Sign up for a discovery call. Let's go deeper. There's also an opportunity right in the QR code in the upper left-hand corner of this screen that takes you right to the discovery call. So there's no excuse if you want help. If you want help, I'm willing to be that person to support you in the journey. Okay? And and I would even recommend, share this as a playback. Share this webinar as it'll show up on the social medias afterwards for someone to take a look at and do this very same exercise, do their own reflection, because I believe that this can help take you and somebody else who might tune in and listen in to the next level so that their next half of the year is much better or is even further amplified than that first half. Because mindset matters, folks, and it's always going to matter. When we change our beliefs, we change our life. So we will see you in next week, Monday, same bat time and channel, and make it a great rest of your evening and have an amazing rest of your week. Take care.